Dear grade 10 students, welcome to our English class, and our lesson today is Vocabulary, Unit 6, Student Book pages 74-75. Be ready and let's start. And our objectives for today are: number 1 is to identify different types of prefixes to form opposite meanings of some adjectives. Number 2 is to classify some adjectives using the suitable prefix to give the opposite meaning. Number 3 is to apply the skill acquired to complete 6 sentences with the correct adjective. Let's start. Now let's start with the following activity. Read the following words and divide them into the prefix and the root. Let's read these words together. Irrelevant, impatient, antisocial, unhappy, dislike, incapable, and return. Now, what do you notice about these words? Can we divide them into two parts? That's correct. We can divide them into two parts. So what are these two parts? They are the prefix and the root. So let's start with the word irrelevant. For example, what is the prefix here? So it is and the root of the word is relevant. So is the prefix and the root is relevant. Now I would like you to pause the video and think of the other words. How can we divide them into the prefix and the root? And now let's start. The second word is impatient. So the prefix is, can you say? That's correct, and the root of this word is patient. Antisocial. So what is the prefix here? It's anti, and the root is social. Unhappy. The prefix here is on, and the root of the word is happy. Dislike. Dis and like. Incapable. Incapable. Return. So the prefix is re and the root is turn. And now let's find out what is a prefix and what is the function of prefixes. A prefix is a group of letters we add to the beginning of a word. And what is the function of these letters? Prefixes change the meaning or purpose of the word. In another way, when a prefix is added to a word, it creates a new meaning of this word. For example, a word like kind. When we add the prefix "un" to the word kind, it becomes unkind. And if you notice here that the word has become its opposite meaning, which is the antonym. For example, when you say shouting at kids is an unkind behavior. And now, let's go to your student book, page 74, exercise A. What are the opposites of the following words? And what do you notice about their formation? Now let's read the words together. Suitable, convenient, legal, rational, and possible. I want you to think, how can we form the opposite of each one? And what shall we use here? That's correct. We are going to use prefixes. Now, I want you to pause the video for a while and think of the suitable prefix that goes with each word to give you the opposite meaning. Welcome back. Let's answer the question together. And the first word we have here is suitable. What do you think is the prefix used with the word suitable to form the opposite meaning of it? So, the correct answer is unsuitable. That's correct. So I have suitable and unsuitable. What does this word mean? It means not acceptable or right for someone or something. For example, when you say, "This water is unsuitable to drink." And now, let's think about the word convenient. Can you tell me what is the correct prefix used with the word convenient to give the opposite meaning? That's correct. It is inconvenient. So, convenient and the opposite is inconvenient. And what does the word inconvenient mean? It means causing problems or difficulties. Let's put it in a sentence. Junk food is inconvenient to your health. And now, let's go to the third word, which is legal. Can you tell me what is the correct prefix used with the word legal to form the opposite meaning of it? That's correct. We have illegal. So, legal becomes illegal. So what does this word mean? It means not allowed by law. Let's put it in a sentence. For example, when you say, "It's illegal to drive a car without a driving license." And now, what do you notice about the formation of the adjective legal and illegal? Let's look at the initial letter of the word legal. What is it? It's L. That's correct. And let's note here the prefix also is pronounced as L. So, the rule here says that if the adjective starts with L, it takes the prefix L to form the opposite meaning of this adjective. And now, let's go to the next word, which is rational. What is the suitable prefix that I can use with the word rational to give its opposite meaning? Can you say that? That's correct. It's irrational. So I have rational and irrational. So what does this word mean? It means not using reason or clear thinking. For example, she has an irrational fear of cats. And I want you here to notice something about the word rational and irrational. Let's look at the word rational. What is the initial letter of this word? It's R. And what is the prefix we use with rational? It's er. So, the adjectives that start with letter R takes the prefix er. That's correct. Rational, irrational. Why I use the prefix er? Because it starts with letter R. And finally, the word possible. Possible. So how can I form the opposite form of the word possible? I have impossible. That's correct. I use im as a prefix to get the opposite meaning of the word possible. So I have possible and impossible, which means something that cannot be achieved or happen. However, nothing is impossible to the one who always tries. And notice something here about the formation of the word possible. It takes the prefix im. So, remember well that if the adjective starts with letter P or M, it takes the prefix M, like possible, impossible. And now, let's go to the rules. I would like you to remember that the opposites of many English words are formed by adding a negative prefix, such as un, in, l, m to the words. However, we have here some exceptions. Let's go to these exceptions. Look at the word real. What do you notice about this word? What is the initial letter of this word? It's R. And if you remember the rule that when the adjective starts with R, I use prefix er. However, the word real here is an exceptional case. So I say real, unreal. Another example is lucky. So what is the initial letter of this word? It's L. And if you remember the rule that says that if the adjective starts with L, it takes the prefix L, like logical, illogical. So here lucky, can I say lucky? No, because this is an exceptional case also, so it becomes unlucky. Also, we have here reliable. The initial letter is R. So can you think of the opposite of this word? And what is the suitable prefix here? That's correct. I can't say irreliable, but the correct one is unreliable. I have pleasant. It starts with B. Can I say unpleasant? No, because it's an exception. So it becomes unpleasant. Now, let's go to your student book, page 74, exercise B. Complete the table forming the opposites of the adjectives in the box. And here I have some adjectives. I want you to put each adjective under the correct prefix to give the opposite of this adjective. And remember the rules well, that the opposites of many English words are formed by adding a negative prefix, like on, in, l, and m. Also remember the exceptions. I want you also to remember that l goes with the adjectives that start with l. Goes with the adjectives that start with r. M goes with the adjectives that start with m or p. Let's find out the answer. I want you now to pause the video for a while and to try to put each adjective under the correct prefix. And now let's start. The first adjective here is patient. And what's the initial letter of this adjective? It's P. That's correct. So what is the suitable prefix for the word patient? It's impatient. Let's go to the next word, which is literate. So what is the first letter here? It's letter L. So it takes the prefix L to become illiterate. Regular. What's the first letter here? It's R. So it takes the prefix irregular. Then I have secure. What is the suitable prefix for the word secure? Yes, it's insecure. Logical starts with L, so it goes to, that's correct, illogical. Correct becomes incorrect. Affected becomes unaffected. Mature, notes here that the adjective starts with M, so becomes immature. Practical, P, practical, it becomes impractical because it starts with P. Aware becomes unaware. Responsible, and notice the first letter here is R, so it becomes irresponsible. Experienced, so becomes inexperienced. Polite, polite starts with P, so becomes impolite. Kind, can you say it? That's correct, it's unkind. Appropriate, what is the opposite of the word appropriate? And what is the suitable prefix? It is inappropriate. Relevant. starts with R, so it becomes irrelevant. And finally, willing, which is unwilling. Now, let's make up a story using some of the adjectives you have learned today. Here are the adjectives. Now I want you to pause the video for a while and to try to write a short story using these adjectives. Here we are again. Let's start our story. Catherine wanted to plant a garden, but she was inexperienced. Her mom took her to the gardener, who was an old illiterate man, but aware enough with the different kinds of flowers. She liked all the flowers so much. She wished she could plant one of every kind, but she became unpleasant when her mom told her that she was incapable of taking all kinds of the flowers. Her mom told her that it would be convenient for them to choose a different flower next season. And now, thank you so much for listening.